Yo, everybody, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. This is Man United Central. Guys, Scott McTominay is going to be the topic of the day. All right? We're going to talk about Scott McTominay. Where are we on that? Because when it comes to players that have value, right? Scott McTominay is one of those. And again, one thing we got to understand, Scott McTominay is an academy graduate. So if we can offload Scott McTominay, right? Because there are actual teams looking to bring Scott McTominay in the likes of Napoli, then that is going to come in as pure profit from Manchester United. All right. So it is when it comes to pure profit, which with United, that is very beneficial to them because we need to make sales so you can create some kind of profit, right? Basically, United can get an FFP boost from Scott McTominay, right? So basically, what it is this, right? Scott McTominay has interest. He's an academy graduate. When we sell him, pure profit comes in. All right. Now, to topic today, the big news today is this: Scott McTominay is in demand this summer. Right? There's a number of teams looking at him because listen, in order for us to bring in our number one target, who is Ugarte, right, or any other midfielder, we need sales, we need outgoings, right? So we know Scott McTominay is in demand this summer. We a number of teams actually. So basically, from this information that I'm reading here, this is from the Manchester Evening News. We see that Scott McTominay has agreed personal terms with Napoli, right? We saw Napoli got demolished today in Serie A. So listen, Napoli could probably use Scott McTominay's talent, right, in that midfield and also crashing the box because we know what Scott McTominay can do, right? He can bring you goals. Not a lot of midfielders, can do what Scott McTominay can do, right? Yes, he's not going to be able to do that at Manchester United. That's why we're trying to offload him, right? But other teams, around the world, especially for example, in the Premier League, they can use his services. All right. So Napoli apparently has agreed personal terms with Scott McTominay. So according to this report from Manchester United Evening News, saying it is believed that personal terms have been agreed. So from this report, it's saying like it is believed that the only stumbling block now is reaching an agreement with United over the fee for the midfielder. Right. So the way the deal structure works is this: once the team and the player agree personal terms, the only thing that's left it is the two teams to agree. Okay, how much we want for this player, and things can be moving. We know United is asking for at least 25 to 30 million, right, for Scott McTominay, which is honestly extremely reasonable if you ask me, right? Because from what he's going to give you if he was to come to your team, right? So the stumbling block now, according to this report, is reaching an agreement between United and Napoli, right? Basically, earlier today, Napoli director Giovanni Mana insisted McTominay is a quality player, but would not be drawn into talks on interest of signing him, right? But we know that. Listen, Scott McTominay, he's definitely a wanted man. And we know that in our midfield, guys, we have to sell in order for us to bring in the likes of our number one target in Ugarte, right? Because we thought it would be Casemiro, the one that's going to be leaving. Because initially in the beginning of the transfer window, we heard, there were rumblings going on that, hey, the Saudi League will be coming in hard for Casemiro. But those links kind of slowed down, right? So if Casemiro links slowed down, so the only one that kind of has picked up is Scott McTominay. So hopefully some kind of a deal can be agreed here in the next couple of days, because next couple of days or hopefully by this week, because we know the transfer window is about to close, right? But there's a twist, right? Last week we heard that, okay, there were reports that, initially we thought he was going to be going to Fulham. So we were thinking like, man, it would suck if we just played Fulham. Yes, we beat Fulham. Yes, we started the Premier League season with a bang, right? One by the name of Joshua Zirkzee. He put his name in history by scoring on his debut. Yeah, do you know who was the last one who did that? Scoring on his debut? I'll let you say. Leave it in the comments below if you know. Right? I'm gonna leave for a second. 1, 2, 3. You didn't know? Okay, it is Ruud van Nistelrooy. Right? So the two Dutchmen are, they arched their name in history by scoring the goal on your debut. And Xerxes scored on that Stretford end, where listen, that's what dreams are made of. All these players that come to Man United, you always want to score on the Stretford end, right? So when he scored, man, everybody went wild. If you were on the stream watching me, I lost myself. I was crazy, right? Yeah, man, Oliver, listen, you are on point, my man. Yes, Ruud van Nistelrooy. So this is good stuff. I appreciate you coming in. People, smash that like as you're coming in. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I would appreciate. I'm your boy Luther. This is Man United Central, where we talk about everything Manchester United here. All right, so basically we started with a win, which was good. At least for that one day on Friday, we were sitting on top of the league. Top of the league. Yeah, only for that one day. Now, if you look at the table, yeah, we are. Yeah, about the 7th. But anyway, it's just one game, man. Hello, people. Welcome. Smash the like as you're coming in. Let's see who's there coming in. Perel, welcome, Perel. Welcome. People, smash a like as you're coming in. Hit the subscribe if you haven't done so. All right, so listen. So the flip side is this. We know personal terms. Scott McTominay with Napoli, no issue, right? Now, the flip side to this now is this. According to Dharmesh Sheth from Sky Sport, is saying, listen, Dharmesh had said, in the past, we heard that Scott McTominay was heavily linked with Fulham, right? So according to Dharmesh, he was saying, look, this was August 6th. He was saying, look, as it stands, Fulham are not expected because they had 2 bids that was rejected by Man United. Yeah, right. So he did not expect, Fulham to be back, right? Basically, they had a 20 million bid was rejected, right? So basically, there was a gap in valuation. That's what Dharmesh said. Fulham, they're going to focus on other targets, right? So the twist is this, right? Today, we hear that, okay, Scott McTominay has agreed terms with Napoli. I think that kind of triggered something on the Fulham side. They're like, man, okay, we played Man United. We didn't look we could have used a player like Scott McTominay in that midfield, right? Oliver, what's up? We're going to talk about the left back, man. We're going to talk about the left back, dude. So, yeah. So basically, boom. Today we hear that Dharmesh is coming back and say, listen, guess what? Fulham have reopened talks with Manchester United over signing of Scott McTominay, right? Fulham had 2 bids rejected and weren't expected to go back in unless United were willing to negotiate on asking price, right? Fulham now expected to make improved offer if talks go positively. Listen, man, all right? One thing I can say is this. I can speak to the Ineos team here and most of us fans. Let's not be too greedy, okay? I know Scott McTominay is worth maybe 35 to 40 million, right? Based on if you look at all the other players that playing in this position, like a few of them that were sold. I can't remember the names, right? Scott McTominay is one that actually can give you value, score goals and stuff like that, compared to the other crappy ones that were one I think went to Leicester. I forgot his name. Basically, it's reasonable. But if Fulham come in and say, hey, we're gonna give you 28, close to 30, come on, man, we gotta take that deal, right? We gotta take that deal because we have priorities, right? Because Scott McTominay, yes, he's good. He can give us that goal when we need it, and from what we read today is apparently, I did not know this. Apparently, the person who has been like kind of holding on to Scott McTominay, he doesn't want him to leave, is our manager, Ten Hag, right? Basically, Ten Hag is like, listen, I want Scott McTominay to stay, man. But Ineos, what's going on, people? Perel, welcome, smash the like, people, as you're coming in, right? But Ineos, right? They're like, listen, Ten Hag, If you want to bring in Ugarte, we need to bring in money. In that midfield, the only other player that can bring us money in is Scott McTominay. So you got to give and take here. We need to offload him. That way you can get Ugarte, right? And whatever extra money we get, maybe if we offload the likes of Christian Eriksen, which we're not going to get any money for him. Maybe if he decides, say, hey, I want to play more consistent football, and Eriksen goes somewhere else, then we can eliminate that salary that we pay him, right? Also, we see reports that Facundo Pellistri, is another one who could be on his way out to Panathinaikos. So, when that money comes in, then you can probably bring in Ugarte to replace Scott McTominay and another midfielder. Because honestly, guys, we need two midfielders to come into that midfield. That way we can be comfortable. Because we know games are lost and won in that midfield, right? In that game against Fulham, one thing I noticed is this. At one point, you could see that Kobe Mainu, you can see that, okay, he was getting tired. But again, there's not that real, equal level of player that you can take out, for example, Kobe Mainu, and then bring in another midfielder to play almost the same role. So we don't have that, right? So we definitely need depth in that, because McTominay cannot do that role, the Kobe Mainu role, right? So we need Ugarte for sure. To me, if I was to bring worst case scenario, I'll bring in Ugarte and Burge if we could. If not, I would want to bring in Ugarte and the one and only Amrabat. I'll bring back Amrabat, right? Because Amrabat, we know he's sitting on the side wings, waiting for Man United to come in for him, right? He's ready. He's just waiting to get that green light from Man United. He's ours, and we can get him for reasonably cheap price. So, for example, if we bring in the likes of Ugarte from whatever money we get from Scott McTominay, and then whatever else we get from Pellistri, we pay for Amrabat, we should be in good shape, right? We should be in good shape in that midfield. And then we have, of course, at that point, maybe we can also offload Hadibo Mejbri, because that's another one that he doesn't really have a future in that midfield for us. So I think if we start, next couple of games with knowing that you have Ugarte, you have Amrabat in that midfield, Casemiro, because Casemiro is not going anywhere, guys. And then you have Kobe Mainu, you have Bruno, and then you have Mount. I think that midfield will be decent, right? I'll be cool with that. I'll be comfortable to know that, hey, worst case scenario, at least top 3 is the minimum with a trophy. That's my benchmark. You guys let me know what's your benchmark for Ten Hag this season. What do you expect him to be, right? And of course, Toby Collier, yeah, you're right. Oliver, yeah, Toby Collier, definitely I want him to stay. But the thing is, if we bring in those like the Ugartes and we bring in the likes of Amrabat, how much game do you think Toby Collier is going to get? Do you think, this I was thinking earlier before coming on to talk to you wonderful people, I was thinking, do we want to send Toby Collier maybe on loan somewhere? Like the way we did with Ahmad, right? To Sunderland, for example, Championship, that way he get that consistent football. Because listen, Toby Collier is quality. But again, he's still young, so he has that advantage of time in his hand, right? Meaning that we can risk, say, okay, let's send him on loan, a season long loan, and that way he can get consistent football to build up his stamina and all this stuff to playing in that role, the 6, 8 role, right? Because he definitely needs consistent football. I don't know how much football he's going to get right now, because we're kind of stacked. For example, if we bring in 2 midfielders, I don't know what's going to happen. He won't go anywhere. Okay, this is Toby. Yeah, I mean, listen, I know. I would take him. I would like for him to stay, right? I would like Toby Collier to stay, but he needs game time, right? He needs game time, and I don't know how Ten Hag is going to be able to, give him game time. I know we're going to play a whole bunch of games, right? We have the Europa, we have FA Cup, Carabao Cup. I know there's a lot of games, but again, we know Ten Hag. He can be stubborn. Whenever he has a system that works, he doesn't like to tweak it that much. So, of course, we're going to see a whole bunch of games again for the likes of Kobe Mainu, which it shouldn't be like that. He should be rotating, right? Again, Casemiro is going to see a whole bunch of games. So hopefully, if he stays, I'm sure Ten Hag has a game plan for him, because obviously after we won the FA Cup, You saw Ten Hag did the whole hand behind the neck of Toby Coley and said, listen, next season, I want you here. The same thing he did for Kobe Mainu, right? So I'm sure he has a game plan. I trust Ten Hag. I trust Ruud van Nistelrooy, and Rene Hack and the whole team. They have a game plan with all these players. Same thing as Amas, right? Left back, huge problem for us. Left back is a huge, huge problem for us. Of course, Harry Amas is not ready, right? He's not ready. So definitely we need to bring in a left back, right? Because Luke Shaw, he likes to hang out in the medical bay of Man United, right? He likes to chill there and get coffee and stuff like that and relax in the medical bay instead of playing football. Same thing, Terrell Malacia has been out for what, over 18 months or something. So even if he was to come back, listen, if for footballers, one thing I know is they got to play football consistently to maintain that physical strength and everything. So by him being out that long, Malacia, even if he was to come back, most likely he's going to get injured again. So obviously, United, they need to bring in a left back, right? Now, you guys let me know. Do you want, from what we see the whole Alonso, we've been linked with Alonso, right? Because we're looking at free agents for the left back position, all right? We're looking at Alonso. So, initially we were also looking at Hermoso, but I think those links have kind of died down. And also, listen, this, I don't even want to say it. Please don't say it. Ben Chilwell. Come on, did you guys see that report? We are linked with Ben Chilwell. This dude is as hurt as anybody else, man. Please, no Ben Chilwell, right? So, no Ben Chilwell. Alonso, I don't want him either, right? So, if it was me, I was to bring in someone in that left back. Okay, listen, Kodioglu, right? Freddie Kodioglu, yeah. Listen, they would work, but again, where do we get the money for Kodioglu, to come in, right? Where do we get the money for that? I don't think we have the money. Most likely, if we're going to bring somebody, it's going to be a free agent, like, like what's his name? The last left back we brought in last time. Dang, I forgot his name. From Tottenham, I forgot his name. I'm going to remember it in a little bit. But yeah, we definitely need a left back to come in. Sergio Region. Yeah, I would take Sergio Region back, man, because at least, dude, Region. I hope, had we not sent him back, he would have definitely helped us out big time in the end of the season. Yeah, Sergio Region. Yeah, right, Oliver. Sergio Region is, I would bring him back because at least he comes in. We already know. Okay, he already knows how Ten Hag wants to play, right? On front foot, attacking football, and he was decent. I'll take him. But again, that's another thing too. We got to think about it, guys. Do we want a temporary fix, or we want Ineos to kind of look at a permanent fix? Because if you bring in Alonso or you bring in Sergio Region, you're putting a band-aid, right? To say, okay, we're just going to cover this season, right? Should they be looking at a more of a permanent fix, right? Someone who can come in there and say, okay, for the next, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, they're going to be able to handle that left back, because honestly, Malacia and Luke Shaw, you cannot depend on them. So you want someone who's going to be there on a long run. And based on what Mazraoui did, from what he came in, he didn't have that much time practicing with the first team, and he killed it. Personally, he killed it. The way I think, that's my benchmark. If you're going to bring in a left back or a full back, he has to come in, hit the ground running. Trevor Chalobah, again, we're going to get another Chelsea player. I don't know. I don't know about Chalobah. How much is it going to cost us? That's another thing. Again, it boils down to money, right? United, we're kind of strapped for cash. So that's why I guess we're linked with these free agents, right? To see if we can nickel and dime things here and there, right? And to see if they'll be able to come in to help us, right? Provide some coverage. because I mean, honestly, it's tough being a Man United owner right now when you have to nickel and dime. But I like the fact that we're not really being caught with our pants down, forced to pay crazy amount for some of these players. Oliver, you're saying a swap deal for, so we would send who out though? I mean, again, who really wants our players, right? And that's a big problem for us, right? When it comes to swap deal, the only swap deal I can think of is Jadon Sancho and Ugarte, PSG. We can do that. That would work. But who else would we swap when it comes to bringing in a left back? I don't know. Hannibal, maybe Ericsson, someone that we really can say, okay, they can go and, we bring in a fullback. So uh, one thing is, it gives me comfort is knowing that at least we have Mazraoui and Dalot who can play in that left back temporarily. But ideally, you don't want them to cover that left back, for too long because those two are each other's backup. In case one goes down, we have coverage, right? And also, I know Lisandro Martinez can play in that left back position. I don't like him in the left back. I want Licha to sit in that usual center back position and do what Licha does, the butcher himself, right? So I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, honestly. Again, we have what, maybe 2 weeks left in this transfer window. So we're gonna see a lot of movement, but I think if it was to predict the next one coming in for me, I think it will be in that midfield. So it will probably be Ugarte coming in. I'm hoping, because according to Fabrizio Romano, he's saying like, look, Man United could be bringing in at least two more signings, right? So we may have like two more signings coming in. So we bring in a midfielder. Um, yeah, we bring in Ugarte, maybe bring back Amrabat or Burge. I'll be cool with that. And then we can focus on the last week, focus on that left back. And another thing, guys, let me ask you this, right? There's this thing about another striker. Do you guys want another striker? Do you want another striker to come in? Right? The reason I'm saying another striker is there's this links of Ivan Toney. All right. Do you guys want Ivan Toney at Manchester United? Let me know in the comments, man. Let me know. All right. Personally, I think, listen, Ivan Toney, I don't know what's the deal with him, right? Because this man, he's a good striker, right? He's a good striker. But how come, you know, Arsenal need a striker, but they didn't go for him? Chelsea need a striker, they didn't go for him, right? Liverpool, I think they're good. So all the top teams, they're really not going for this guy. Yes, I know he comes with some baggage, whatever, but nobody's going for him. And honestly, I don't think we need three strikers at our team right now. Whatever money that we have that people think that we can put into bringing Ivan Toney, I would rather that money be put into the midfield. Let our midfield be stacked, and then because the two strikers that we have now, Xerxes, Hoyland, I think those two can compete. It's good enough. Yes, I know Hoyland is injured now, so some people are saying like, oh, we may need to bring in Ivan Toney as an experienced striker. But I feel like with Ivan Toney coming in, it's going to kind of stunt those two growth, right? To be prolific, to have more game time. Because a player like Ivan Toney, if he comes into Man United, he may demand starting. And honestly, right now, I'm thinking Ten Hag has identified like Hoyland will be his starter. Obviously, you gave him a number 9 shirt, so most likely Hoyland is going to be his starter striker, and then him and Xerxes, they can kind of switch up, that kind of situation. Now, if you throw in a monkey wrench in there and bring in Ivan Toney, I don't know, it could destabilize that dressing room, man. Let these young kids go at it, and worst case scenario, if we need someone to cover a striker position, we've been playing with Bruno Mount and the two false nines, And then you have Rashi. Rashi can also play as a false nine temporarily in case we have injuries, right? But Fabrizio Romano is saying, look, on this Ivan Toney, I see he's been linked with Al Hali, this one of the teams in the Saudi league, because Brentford coach, he said, look, he was left out of the team because of transfer negotiations that could be happening in the background, right? That's why he didn't play today. So that being said, people are like, oh, he could be in talks to come to Man United and stuff like that. I really don't think Ineos, they're going to bring in this guy. It could be, again, we may get a curveball last minute, the transfer window is about to close. We hear, okay, Ivan Toney to Man United, here we go. But again, I don't want that. I don't want it. I think we are okay. I think we're okay in that striker position. Ivan Toney, he can go to the Saudi league or some other team. They can have him, right? And according to Pletigol, he's saying like Manchester United currently not considering to sign Ivan Toney, and could be until deadline day, right? Basically, no approach is planned. We already have Rasmus and Joshua Zirkzee. Those will be the ones playing regular. This is according to Pletigol, right? So I hope it stays that way. Again, anything can happen, deadline day. But so far, one thing I want to see is I want to see outgoings, man. I want to see outgoings, and I'm glad that Facundo Pellistri, with that link to Panathinaikos, is good. All right, at least we'll have him out of the team. Let's get some money in, right? We're not going to get much. At least it's something. So he leaves, and then hopefully Mctominay gets finalized soon here, and then he also exits. And then who else? Maybe Hannibal Mejbri also exits, because I want to see more exits, man. I want to see more exits, and that way we can have some money coming in and bring in the targets that we want. So guys, listen, today we're just chopping it up, talking about Mctominay, agreeing personal terms with Napoli. Napoli, they have made Mctominay as one of their priority signing. Now, it could be a tactic by Man United to kind of push that Napoli agenda. That way, Fulham can be like, oh man, listen, we need to step up our game, and if we want to bring Scott McTominay back. And it looks like it worked, because Fulham now, they're back into the game, saying, okay, we're going to start negotiations again for Scott McTominay. So we shall see. Obviously, tomorrow is Monday. Things are going to happen, and we're going to keep an eye on this story, because Scott McTominay could be on his way out because he wants to play football. I like that, man, and I think he could do a job for a team like Fulham. Napoli, of course, in the Italian league, is slower. He can definitely do a good job over there as well. All right, guys, listen, this is a quick one. I just want to jump in here, show some love to you guys. I appreciate you hanging out with your boy. Thank you so much for subscribing, hitting that like, and hitting that follow. I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace out.